Welcome everyone to The Distraction here on Fightful.com. I am Jeremy Lambert, joined as always by the Slayer of Wrestling Features, Mr. Joe Hulbert. Joe, how you doing, buddy?
Well, as the audience can see, I'm very good, Jeremy. I'm big time now. Big time podcaster. I have a microphone. I've been walking the streets this week. People coming up to me. You're the guy from the big podcast on Fightful. It's a bit embarrassing. I'd rather our audience not do that kind of thing. But now that I have a microphone, I do feel more deserving of the praise. So I will allow it to continue for now. But I'm very good. It's been a weird week, I think, as everyone watching this probably knows. But wrestling was pretty good, useful this week, I think, right? Probably it helped us out a little bit.
Wrestling was very useful this week, given everything that's going on. And people who've listened to our first 3 shows will probably know we'll get to that at the end, the tragic death of Kobe Bryant. But we do have some wrestling to talk about. Before we get into wrestling, let's get some things out of the way. Everyone sign up to Fightful Select so we can get extra money, because we enjoy that.
More microphones.
Yeah, more microphones. I'm not sure people can see your microphone.
They can't?
Yeah, I'm going to move it. So
oh, goodness.
There.
They have to see it.
Now everyone can see your microphone.
The first 2 minutes, they were like, what is this guy talking about? He's insane. He has an imaginary microphone now. Oh,
now,
yeah.
See, everyone, the microphone was like me, because you can't see me, correct?
No.
Yeah, so I did the John Cena hand gesture, and you didn't see it, but everyone who's watching this, where it was.
I think it benefits, though, because like people that just listen to the show, they miss out on certain elements, and I want you to know that I also miss out on those same elements, because I see nothing. So, yes, technically, listen, this is our show. That's what it's about. We'll explain that by now.
Joe, you had 2 features last week.
I did.
You did Asuka, Becky Lynch, and Sheamus. How does it feel being back in the game as, you say, a spot-up shooter? I say Manu Ginobili.
I must say, I did consider the Sheamus feature to be like a late shot. You know what I'm saying? Like down the stretch, last 3 minutes, I came up big there. I felt, on pay-per-view day, very proud of that one. It was good, people seem to enjoy them. Some topics are going to do better than others, and I think we know which side I'm talking about in that equation. But it's fun. It's good to be back. Love doing the features on Fightful because, honestly, that's the thing about Fightful is there ain't really anyone else letting people like me do stuff like that, right? Nice, there's a lot of news and stuff, and you do that, Jeremy, as you know. But it's fun. It's a nice little spot for me on a site where there's loads of people doing actual work,
Actual work.
It's true.
I don't know if any of us do actual
work.
Maybe. We just kind of, if you read our Skype messages, it doesn't seem like we get anything done.
True, yeah, fair.
Today we are going to talk about a lot of Royal Rumble stuff to get to. We're going to talk about NWA, Hard Times. Joe is going to give an update on his favorite wrestlers list. We challenged the fans, the audience, to send Joe wrestlers he should root for, and so he's gonna give an update there. Maybe a little Luther talk. We've got big Luther news coming next week, and we're not allowed to reveal things. We've been given hush money on the Luther side of things, so we can't talk about Luther this week. So I apologize for that, everyone. Go yell at our boss for that.
Just re-listen to the old episodes. There's like half an hour of Luther talk. You just if you're that desperate, just do that, man.
And at the end, we are going to discuss Kobe Bryant. But first, let's get into things with NWA Hard Times. Joe, you were a little lukewarm on the show, and the gimmick is I set 5 minutes on the clock, and we don't actually pay attention to the clock, and we go over the time limit anyway. So, but it's set. It's there to try to keep us on task, but it's called The Distraction for a reason. Joe, you're a little lukewarm on NWA Hard Times, but after the show, you messaged me and it was like, that was great. We have to talk about it. Overall impressions of Hard Times.
Well, the next couple of minutes of this game, me trying to remember Hard Times, because it does feel like it took place a few decades ago. But I did make a point of messaging you, Jeremy, because I felt I need to make an apology in some ways. This was really fun, man. We talked about the amount of matches on this card. This came in at 2.5 hours. Which is incredible. And it focused on the right things. I can't remember a show that was so, flawlessly handled from start to finish as far as the decision-making, okay? The question mark stuff is fun. I enjoy it like everyone else. But I was very much relieved to see Trevor Murdoch just beat him, and we just all moved on because it wasn't needed on a pay-per-view card, right? Trevor Murdoch was a great story, and they capitalised on that. Ricky Starks was capitalised on. You know, like, we had the tag titles, they had to be changed. They went with the right team. I think it's this week's Power show because that team's a lot of fun, Storm and Eli. The women's title match was amazing, like legitimately great. I mean, and I don't understand people don't look at NWA. I think we spoke about this last week, because like NWA isn't the great match organisation, right? But that match was legitimately great.
Yeah.
Like, excellent women's title match. Man, I just love this. There was the only thing that obviously that wasn't good was Aaron Stevens and Scott Steiner, and that was not bad. It was just them two doing a wrestling match in 2020. It is what it is, right? You got to accept it. You understood what you were getting. But I just thought this was fun, and it felt like they were on the right track here, I thought. What about you?
I really enjoyed this show. Like we talked about last week, it seemed like it could be bloated, but the 605 gimmick where the matches just, those TV title matches just aren't going to last that long, kind of ensured that it wasn't going to go like too long. Like, you weren't going to have like these 10-15 minute like tournament matches. They were going 6 minutes 5 seconds at the very most. And I think Ricky Starks and Matt Cross was like the longest match until the main event of the tournament, and that probably should have been the longest match. I think those are kind of the two best workers in, that were in the tournament. But it flew by. I like that the TV title headlined over Aldis and Flip Gordon. Like, it made that title feel important right off the bat. And now they're doing the gimmick of, if you get 7 straight title defenses, you get a NWA World Heavyweight title shot. So that makes the belt feel important as well. I like what they've done overall with establishing the TV title. Yeah,
and we both agreed last week this was the right winner too, right? Yes. I mean, that was perfect execution. He was always going to do his part of the equation, which was perform well and look like a star, but they actually enabled him to do that by having him win the title. And it must be said, man, this Trevor Murdoch situation is fascinating. Like, this is a true unearthed gem that they've got here, because who would have predicted when they announced they was like going to do their own TV show again? Who would have thought Trevor Murdoch would be like a genuinely incredibly valuable piece of that puzzle, right? Like, that's come out of nowhere. Trevor Murdoch obviously was always very good. I'm not sort of questioning his talent, but he was off the scene. So that was an amazing point. He fits so perfectly. So I love that they embraced him too, had him go to the final. I mean, I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure Trevor's first power match was against Ricky Starks, and it was just as like a guy losing, you know, like a familiar face losing. And now I was into that match. I was into a lot of the stuff on that show. It's interesting. We're going to get to later about the favourite wrestler thing, which is obviously, you know, mostly silliness. But I must credit the NWA in the sense that when I'm thinking about wrestlers I like, they have multiple names on this list, because for the most part they handle all of their talent with a certain level of like care and respect. Do you know what I mean? Like, they all get promo time. They're generally represented as being important, to the point where when a guy loses flat, it's almost like, whoa, that actually was there was a finish there. Like, Tim Storm losing was kind of sad. I was very sad about it, Dream. What about you?
I don't know what the deal is with Mr. Anderson. There was rumors that he got pulled off of the show because he agreed to do the TNA show, but I don't know how much truth there is to that. Why are you going to punish a guy for doing a TNA show?
Well, I'd say there's many reasons to punish a guy for doing that.
Isn't that the punishment, that he's doing the TNA show?
Especially doing a tag team match with D'Lo Brown as the Aces and Eights.
It was weird that Tim Storm got the bye in the first round though.
I guess
they didn't really have a contingency plan there, but it seemed like Tim Storm would have been the kind of guys like, I'm not taking this bye. Like his promo was good. He explained it very well and he covered up for it.
See, I agree with you, because I thought it would have been perfect. Seeing as he was not going to win the title, right? I thought it was the perfect vehicle to have him be the honourable babyface and just get beat by whoever the replacement opponent was. Because it feels like they're going to do some form of angle like that with Tim, where it's like he's not sure where he fits in the sort of modern NWA landscape. But again, I don't know who, I guess Eddie Kingston, but he's involved in an angle with the Pope which they never showed on television and then did as a video package. But that's another argument for another day, Jeremy. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, you could have put somebody in that spot. Yeah. Eddie Kingston would have been good. Even a Homicide. Would have been fine, but that was the only I guess complaint I had about the show. The women's match was great. Thunder Rosa and Allison Kay. That was the best match on the show.
Yeah, Thunder Rosa is money. Yeah, she's a superstar.
They made all the right booking decisions, at least in my opinion, for that show. Like, Ricky Starks needed to come out as a star, and he did. Thunder Rosa needed to come out as a star, and she did. Rock and Roll Express, they had their nostalgia run, but the right call to me was Eli Drake and James Storm. And their promo after was great as well. Like any wrestling show that's going to give me just kind of nonstop sort of something to catch my attention and only goes 2.5 hours, perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, and I think, I just said a minute ago about making people feel like stars. The promo you just touched on with Storm and Drake and that whole team is a perfect example of it, right? Like, them two guys, they just allow them to talk and be charismatic baby faces. Like, there's no formula to it. It's not complicated. They just allow them to be, and people generally like them because they're good talkers. And they're the best example of guys that are just perfect for that format. It's perfect for them. I think Eli Drake will probably end up, climbing up higher as a singles. And Storm might, I don't know. But for now, that's a great spot for him.
Did you watch Power from this week?
I did. Yes.
That Nick Aldis, Marty Scurll segment was
spectacular.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, I understand there's a lot of, like, when this happened, the NWA thing happened, they made Aldis the face of it. I understand there's a lot of naysayers. I get that. I've always kind of thought Aldis was, like, better than people give him credit for. I think it's a lot of bad rap, especially as an in-ring guy. I don't really understand why he still has this perception as like he can't do nothing in the ring. He has consistently good matches. I don't understand the issue. It feels like now, and again, the business has changed your image. You told me weeks ago, but there's like a perception that there's only one style of a good wrestler, and I find it bizarre. Aldis is great. I mean, he's losing the title, I assume, to Scurll, okay? But this isn't like just he gets us started and then we'll move on to other things. No, he's a top guy in NWA, the top guy for the foreseeable future, right? He has to be. Yeah,
I'm with you on all this. Like, his TNA stuff was fine, but not like exactly blow away. But the moment he started with NWA, I think that it was like, all right, this is your top guy, like Magnus from TNA, like, okay, that's what you're doing. But he immediately proved that, like, he can carry this company. He carries himself like a champion. His promo work has always been strong, and now his ring work is even caught up to that. And he works the style that they want him to work, and there's nothing wrong
100%.
with that style.
And I think we have got to remember at all times, I mean, the time he was in TNA, there wasn't many guys that were positioned exactly in their best spot, right? I mean, if you base guys just off, like, I mean, Samoa Joe, okay, in the time Nick Aldis was in TNA, Samoa Joe was not exactly like reminding us all how great he was. There was a lot of bad stuff going on with all of the guys. AJ, name it, as good as they are, in that period of time, man, there was just a lot of bad creative going on. Aldis suffered from that like anyone else, right? Like, but some guys just get a bad rap, and that's what. But I think perception's changing now. That promo segment, I've seen a lot of people like praising it,
I've seen just about everyone saying, I mean, we're not even a month into 2020, but everyone's saying for now it's the promo of the year, and it's hard to disagree because, again, there hasn't been that many great promos this year, but that Aldis promo certainly stacked up with them.
And again, the perfect thing about it was it captured the whole, what makes the NWA different, right? Like, having the whole dialogue about money and what matters, and that's just only happening there, really. It's a different kind of promo.
I like the gimmick. Like, if you lose, that's coming out of your paycheck, and you're paying all these fans.
It's tremendous. I didn't expect him to say that. But I agree. It's tremendous. This is a big match for them, right? Like, this is a big deal. I think this ROH partnership's helping both parties right now. Well,
I was at the Crockett Cup last year when Aldis and Scurll had their match, and like the heat for that match was really tremendous. And I think a lot of people thought Scurll was actually going to win because he'd just come off the unfortunate ROH thing where he didn't win, and people were like, oh, well, maybe he's going to win the NWA title. But then they saw like, oh, he's going to compete in the Best of Super Juniors, so it's like, does NWA want their Best of Super Juniors? Do they want their champion going over there and losing a bunch of matches? So it was just a weird situation, but it was still like Marty made everyone believe that he could win that match, and Aldis did a great job. Like, I thought that was a fantastic match, and this is the biggest match they can book, and that's why they're taking it outside of the studio as well, because they know they probably need a bigger place to run this match.
Yeah. I have to give major props to the idea that there are like cities bidding on this match. I mean, that's one of the greatest. That's one of the greatest lies ever told in the history of professional wrestling, I think. And there's been a lot of great lies, but the suggestion that, like, when that promo segment aired, people were like, just get on the phone, get it done now. We cannot wait any longer, man. We got to get it done. You know, that was awesome.
The mayor of Dallas is like calling Billy Corgan and being like, we got to have this Marty Scurll Nick Aldis match.
It's incredible, Paul. Amazing stuff.
We're going to move on to the Royal Rumble. And before we get into the actual Royal Rumble matches, we're going to talk about everything else that wasn't a Royal Rumble match on Sunday and even Saturday, Worlds Collide stuff, if anyone watched that show. A lot of good wrestling on that show. I don't know how much any of it meant, but Jordan Devlin is the Cruiserweight champion.
Yes, yeah, he is. That's great news. Yeah, that's a thing, yeah, definitely is.
So Royal Rumble, non-Royal Rumble stuff. Joe, what stood out to you Sunday and Saturday that I know you 100% watched?
I have many options here, Jeremy. I could go for the walk-through crowd enjoyable brawl between Roman and Baron. I could go with I enjoy it too. I could go with the Daniel Bryan Miracle Savior job, you know, in the strap match. I could go with Becky and Asuka, like, just having a super physical match to silence, which wasn't their fault. But I'm gonna be negative, Jeremy. I know you're shocked. Seatbelts on, folks. This Lacey Bailey situation is very sad, and I don't know what we do here. It feels like we're watching a heel who was forced into a babyface role wrestle a babyface who had to turn heel because of creative, like, just incompetence. Am I wrong? Am I mistaken here, Jimmy? I don't know what's going on. This is very bad.
Bailey as a heel
is bad.
It's not good.
It's not, and to be clear, I'm not saying it's like her fault exclusively, because it isn't, to be honest. Like, she's not really done anything to get heat. She took heat from Sasha's angle with Lacey, which isn't her fault, obviously. But there is no idea what this character is. They have no clue on the presentation. The work is fine, obviously. Bailey's, like, good. She's in the SmackDown match with Lacey. You saw how good she can be at, like, guiding a match. Obviously, that's her thing, right? But there's total disconnects here. Like, the entrance is weird. She just looks bored, like, and uninterested, which I think is the idea. It's not good. It's very bad.
I think it feels like it should be better because she was a babyface for so long, and it's like, oh, a heel, like, this feels like a fresh thing. She changed up her look. First off, the music isn't good. I think she would be at least 10% better if she just got better music. But I
don't know what her music is.
That's the point. Like, it's not memorable at all.
I don't know there's a pay-per-view going on. Like, I'm not doing that thing. I legitimately never know who's coming out when the music hits.
Yeah, it's super generic. Like, there's nothing memorable about it, and like her look is fine. Her work isn't bad, but it just feels like it should be bigger than it actually is. And look, Lacey Evans, sure, she's a nice lady. I know she's been through a lot, and she does a good job taking care of her family. Mm-hmm. They paired her with Becky Lynch after the big WrestleMania win.
They did, yeah.
They're pairing her with Bailey now. She had that just completely dead feud with Natalya. I don't know what it is that they see in Lacey Evans. It's not clicking. Like, I feel like she should be a good heel, but they're trying to make her a babyface, and just things are not clicking with Lacey.
Okay, is this where I'm supposed to make an apology, Jeremy? Is this where I have to step forward and say I got it wrong? Oh, okay, look, guys, the fans may not have been into Lacey as I thought they were. All right, we all miscalculate these things sometimes. What I will say is this, okay, and this is where sometimes things are easily avoidable. If you want to turn Lacey Evans babyface, is there an idea, perhaps, Jeremy, that you actually don't have her go straight into a title feud against a heel that's desperate for a babyface that's both over and good?
Yeah, this is the thing. They're putting her in this position. Becky Lynch's first feud was with Lacey Evans. You had red hot Becky Lynch coming out of WrestleMania, and it's like, here's Lacey Evans, who all you've seen from her thus far is she walks down the ramp, turns around, and comes back. And it's like, this is you're now going to be feuding with literally the biggest star in the company. Who thinks of that?
Well, this is the thing that fascinates me, is that the night that they started this program with Bailey was the same night Alexa came back. So Sasha, as team captain of SmackDown, could have sparked a feud with Nikki and Alexa with Bayley, right? And this would have been one of those feuds, Jeremy, which we called in the old days over wrestler feud, okay? All right? I spoke into microphone for that because I don't want anyone to be too confused. And what would have happened is the crowd would have cheered the baby faces, all right? And they would have booed the heels. Okay?
Novel concept today.
In the meantime, Lacey could have wrestled Fire and Desire for 2 months, okay? And we could have had a coherent wrestling program. Because instead what they did was they put one heel who had then become a babyface against 2 heels that crowds kind of like, sort of, right? And then they bullied her kid, and then we ended up with one of those heels falling out of the feud due to what we think is an injury, which left the other heel, who is the champion, in need of actual heat. That's what happened, pal.
Did you see the Lacey Evans promo on SmackDown?
Last week's SmackDown, right?
Yeah, last week's SmackDown.
Give me a second. Okay, is this the one on the stage?
Yeah.
Yes, I did see it.
It went from 0 to 100 so quick. It was like, I don't like Bayley and Sasha Banks because my dad died and I grew up with a lot of abuse and drug-riddled family.
They're not very good at subtlety, right?
Yeah, and it's like, and they remind me of bullies, and it's like, can you like, where's the link to all of this?
Yeah.
Like, why are you going from point A to point Z? You realize there's a whole alphabet in between that, right?
Yeah, no, you're right, but this is the problem is, and I agree with your initial points on Lacey to begin with, but as we've mapped this out, it's clear, like, she's just put in a position to foul here, right? Like, this is just bad. This is just bad stuff going on. As you said, the feud with Becky didn't work with her as a heel. This was not fair on either her or Bayley, because Bayley needed a babyface people cared about. And it doesn't, again, it could have been Carmella even, because Carmella is at least established as a babyface, right? I only said Alexa because she was just come back. It was like a fresh thing. But Lacey, you know, she's not going to help Bayley get heat, and it just was a mess. And I don't know where they're headed now because Sasha, I don't know when Sasha's back, right? It's a tough situation. I don't know.
Carmella would have been perfect because there's even like the real life friendship between Bayley and Carmella that you can play off of.
Okay. So with the Carmella one, you have the thing of why have you changed and become this person,
right?
And with the Alexa and Nikki thing, you have the I said you were full of it and now you've exposed yourself kind of thing, right? Because remember they had the whole summer feud. It was with Lacey, you literally had nothing. You just started fresh, and she was like, "No, the SmackDown women are good, I promise." And then she hit one of them. You know, I don't get it, dude. I'm honestly like confused as to why they do this stuff. I just don't get who this helped.
Locker room leaders. That's what they're feuding about. Sasha and Bayley are the locker room leaders, and Lacey Evans is like, I'm the locker room leader.
It's the click all over again, man. Incredible.
That was their buzzword for a couple of months there, was locker room leader.
Should we just say that the other matches were good? Because otherwise people are going to be upset that I just did a 5-minute rant about the SmackDown Women's Division. I'm sorry, guys. It makes me sad. But the other matches were good.
The other matches were good. Daniel Bryan, as you told me off the air, got a great match out of a clown.
Yeah, he's the greatest, dude. He's the absolute best.
Daniel Bryan's
amazing. Every person watching the match was thinking Daniel Bryan might win at the end. That's how great he is. And it's a shame that people like me, broadcast journalists like me, Jeremy, they come on here and they talk about bad wrestling rather than spending 5 minutes celebrating Daniel Bryan. And that's on me. I'm accepting the blame for that. Guide me away from it next time, Jeremy, okay? I'll give you permission.
No, I mean, people aren't going to come up to you in the streets and be like, hey, you're Joe Hulbert from the Distraction if you're just praising Daniel Bryan.
True,
everyone's praising Daniel Bryan. Yeah,
people are going to come up to me and be like, man, that Carmella feud would have been hot, man. You were right. Yeah, good idea. Carry on.
The Women's Royal Rumble, won by Miss Charlotte Flair. What did you think of this Royal Rumble overall and Charlotte being the victor?
I know this is not my job as a podcaster. I know I'm supposed to have takes prepared in the chamber, but I legitimately have like no opinion on Charlotte winning it. Like, I'm just like, sure, man. You know, it's fine. I understand. I get it. I don't really care for it. I'm not interested. I thought this was my favourite of the women's rumbles they've done, Jeremy. I think that's a hot take. I think.
It's not.
Oh, it's not.
No.
Oh, damn. Well, that was my one hot take for the week ruined. I thought the first half of this was like legitimately very good. And then there was no lulls. It was nice and smooth. The work was pretty good. Bianca Belair is amazing.
Yes.
Her and Alexa Bliss had like a weird chemistry that none of us quite realised would be a thing, but it was a thing. They also were very smart and stayed glued to each other in one corner of the ring, as all good wrestlers should. There was other things that happened. Otis was very funny. And then they did the really cool thing where Bianca and Alexa were like the last women standing at that point. Remember this little thing they did? And it was like, okay, this is pretty interesting. And then Bianca survived. And then the match kind of steadily declined for me, especially after Bianca actually went. I thought the match kind of fell off a cliff, but it was still good. What did you think?
Yeah, the first half, the first really 3 quarters were really strong. And then the closing stretch got a little... Once, like you said, Bianca got eliminated, it seemed like it killed off the crowd a little bit. Shayna came in, like Bianca did, had 9 eliminations in 40 minutes or however long she was in there, and then Shayna comes in and does 9 eliminations in 5 minutes and just tosses everyone.
And the thing is, I didn't even think it helped Shayna. Obviously she came across as dominant, but the people she was throwing, I don't think the audience really cared. I don't know. Am I wrong? I don't know. I saw people saying she came across as a monster. I was like, she kind of did, but I don't know if she had the impact you'd want her to have if she's actually headed to a match with Becky Lynch.
Yeah, I think there was some, and there's a long way to go until the Becky Lynch match, and they already have a little bit of a built-in heat from Survivor Series. I think I'm not worried about that match. At least it's not Lacey Evans. But when Shayna came in and tossed everybody, I thought it was different because you don't, when you think about that monster role, you do think of somebody like a Nia Jax or someone, an Awesome Kong, a bigger person like that who's just going to come in and clean house. And Shayna's not really that, but she has the legitimate background where she can just come in and just start tossing people, and it's okay, this works. I think even Charlotte could have worked for that role because she is genetically superior to everyone else and can just come in and start tossing people. But I didn't mind that. It seemed like the crowd wasn't quite ready for that, and I think that's what sort of took it out. I'm using a Corey Gravesism. Corey Graves, instead of just taking the blame and being I didn't think this, the crowd, this is how they reacted to it.
I mean, in fairness, it is 100% true though, right?
Yeah.
The crowd legitimately did just check out. I think this is weird. This is very inside baseball, but I do think that doing all of the babyface in peril moments with Charlotte, where she'd be almost out, I kind of thought played their hand a little bit. It was oh, Charlotte's winning. When Kelly had her hanging by a thread, I was oh well, there we go.
I don't know, when she was getting kicked in the tit, I thought she was definitely going out.
I have no memory of this, Jeremy.
Oh my god, it was near the end, and she was just getting kicked right in the chest when she was hanging on, doing the Shawn Michaels skin the cat spot. I was she should go out right here. This looks devastating.
She should go out right here. On the fly, just decides it's too physical. I'm going to hijack this again. I'm hijacking it. It's been 4 weeks now. For the first 3 weeks, there was no Alexa Bliss talk, so I'm hijacking it, Jeremy. Can you allow me to go now, please?
I got to set the timer for 15 minutes now.
Okay, 25, please. I would like to see a division anchored by matchups like her and Bianca, please, Jeremy. If you have any power to do that. Alexa as a babyface is much, much better as Alexa as a heel, and that is a crazy hot take. Are you going to argue this with me, Jeremy? Because I think it's very hot.
First off, I do have power, but not in the WWE women's division. Apparently, I have some power in the AEW division, though.
True.
True. But I don't have any type of power.
Okay. That's useless to me now.
In WWE.
Okay.
I think Alexa is great as a heel, or is she better as a babyface?
Yes, she is, Jeremy. I'm going to explain that. I heard the timer. I don't care. I'm not stopped by the timer.
You can't see my face. See, that's the brilliant part of this gimmick is you can't see how.
To me, this is craziness. Okay. Here, what we have here is an anomaly, folks. All right. Because Alexa's been a top heel for what? When did she come up? I don't know. 3 years. Let's say 3 years. You turn her babyface and it's you've changed the game. Because crowds like her. Her size makes her perfect for the role of babyface in peril. She actually like kind of sells for the bigger women. This is cash. Jeremy, what are we doing here? Can you explain it to me, please? I want a division anchored by Alexa wrestling Bianca, Alexa wrestling Rhea Ripley. Can we get on with this now and entertain Joe Hulbert, please?
Is Alexa Bliss the 2020 is 2020 Alexa Bliss 1997 Steve Austin?
That's the perfect comparison. Yes, that's exactly what's happened. What's happened here is, this is the truth of it, okay? We've seen Alexa as like a second, third scoring option on a championship team for years, okay? And you say, oh man, she's real good, right? She's super good at the promos and all that, post-up scoring. And then all of a sudden she gets traded to a lottery team. And you're watching them league pass games, Jeremy, and you're just jumping out your seat. You can't believe the game that this woman's got. Do you know what I'm saying? She can pass. She can run an offense here, Jeremy. And I want to see it.
Is she Chris Paul?
Yes. No, probably not. But yeah, sure. And I'm interested. In all seriousness, I get the horsewomen thing. I tell you, I would really enjoy it if they put all the horsewomen on one brand post-Mania and just tried to do something crazy on Raw with like Bianca, Alexa, Rhea Ripley, all of these, Shayna Baszler, just different matchups, right? Like Nikki Cross obviously there with her. Just Ruby Riott. Just something, I don't know. I want some fresh stuff. And this was fresh. I was very excited, Jeremy. I had a great time watching this match.
I mean, it was a very good match, and it did feel fresh, especially I didn't expect Alexa and Bianca to like anchor this whole thing.
You didn't know.
And
how could you possibly know
the
level of workhorse we're dealing with here? You've not been watching the League Pass games, right? You've been watching 2-minute Mandy Rose matches on SmackDown. You said, I don't know about this babyface turn. I've been waiting for this babyface turn, damn it. God, man, I need to get off my chest. Thank you, Jeremy. Please continue with the show as planned.
I'm sticking with my Alexa Bliss and Chris Paul comparison, whether you like it or not.
That's fine. There's much worse ones you can make, definitely.
Or the 1997.
She was watching Hardo. Who's her Harden then? ISO. Is that Charlotte Flair's title, right? She's watching that from afar.
Is that just Sasha Banks? Like Sasha's just, they got the.
No, definitely not. I don't think so. I dig it. I like it.
Men's Royal Rumble won by your guy Drew McIntyre. I don't know if he's your guy.
I thought Bobby Roode won it then for a second. I had like a flash. Yeah, Drew McIntyre
did not win it. Drew McIntyre won. Joe, overall thoughts on Drew winning and the Rumble itself?
I've got all the takes this week, Jeremy. I think this was the best Rumble of all Rumbles.
They listened to the show and they heard your complaint of how many Rumbles are actually good.
Yes.
And then they were like, what we're going to do? We're going to give him an actually good Royal Rumble.
This was not actually good. This was great. This was actually great. This was an emotional roller coaster. We had the Brock thing. The Brock thing allowed them to get to like 17 spots without using like a big name. This was genuinely masterful. The up and down of the crowd, hope spots, then he kills a couple more guys, hope spot, and eventually, when he got eliminated, my lord, Jeremy, people were leaping up and down. This was insane, right? Like, this was incredible. Then you have the Edge moment. This is my favourite Rumble of all Rumbles. And this is after I just spent 10 minutes talking about Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss going bloody coast to coast, but not really,
This Rumble, from start to finish, I thought was laid out brilliantly. Yes. The Brock stuff, people are going to complain about it because they just like to complain. There was a
heavy shot of the marks.
There was a cohesive story from when he entered all the way until when he was finally eliminated. Even the stuff with like Kofi and Big E, like that's what most people are complaining about, is like, oh god, they buried Kofi and Big E and these guys some more. It's like not everyone can win.
I didn't see it that way.
I didn't see it either.
There were guys in there that got buried, definitely. Cesaro was a tough one.
John Morrison just came back and he got tossed like it was like
John Morrison, that was the one, not Shinsuke. Shinsuke dropped him and then got buried. I thought the New Day part, or the Ian Kofi with Ray part, was awesome, man. It was like they had him reeling. He was like a horror movie villain, right? Like they had him and he just, in a snap, he had them all gone. It was great. I loved it. But I understand, it's tough, right? Like when you love a wrestler and they just run out to the ring, I'm going to mention it. You weren't going to. Bobby Roode, he was part of it. Yeah, I know you didn't want to mention it, but I'll bring it up.
I didn't want to hurt your feelings.
I know, and I appreciate it, Jeremy, but he was involved in the attacks, and he, but we must say, he landed some good right hands. He had it for a second. He just slipped, I think, in the corner. And but yes, Drew winning too, man. You know I'm not a Drew McIntyre guy, but I am a fair man, and I have always said, just pick some guys and push them. Commit, do the push. Literally in a month, they've just decided Drew's the guy. That's awesome, right? I mean, when we started this podcast, I said to you, perhaps we should do a topic on Drew becoming like charismatic. And now he's the Rumble winner. He's on the road to Mania. This has been an amazing ride. And I have an NBA comparison. Do you?
I'm excited. You teased this in our production meeting, so I cannot wait for this.
Production meeting, yes. I am saying that this is the equivalent of Victor Oladipo's 2018. Your thoughts?
I'm thinking about it.
Okay, do you want me to explain?
No, I get the comparison. Oladipo was kind of...
Massive jump. Massive jump.
Yeah. He was kind of on the verge. You know, came in a lot of hype coming in. He was like 4th overall pick. And then he was on a bad Orlando team.
Yeah.
Started to make some strides. Went to OKC, but it was kind of buried in the Westbrook MVP triple-double season. And, you know, then he goes to Indiana and just turns into a superstar. So
yes.
So by timeline would be, all right, comes in, chosen one, all good.
Yeah.
3-B, not so great.
Tough, yeah.
Release. The OKC season would be like kind of his indie run almost of
yes.
Yeah, you know, he's there. OKC was a playoff team that year.
Yeah, no,
so he got some shine and whatnot, but you know, it's not WWE. It's not WWE. And but then he comes back NXT, and so then I can see it. I'm not mad at it.
He always had the tools, but then we finally see him implement at the highest level. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I was very proud of it. You know, I don't think there's a better one. I mean, there probably is loads of better ones, right? But you know, it's pretty cool.
I'm not mad at it.
Thank you. I remember a year ago, and I'm going to spoil a feature I'm going to write soon, so just this is an exclusive. But seriously, do you remember like last year when Roman beat Drew? It was like, okay, that's him kind of set in stone. That's what his role is now. Yeah. He's like the upper mid-heel, like, it's cool, good spot, and not a top guy. I never would have told you he was winning this Rumble, ever. I mean, I kind of predicted it on this podcast a few weeks ago, but before this year, I never would have got it, you know?
It's literally been like a month. Like when he started this whole like, all right, I'm going to count down to the Claymore, and the crowd is into it. It turned him babyface out of nowhere and just gave him a complete... What was Drew McIntyre doing before he... Like, what did he do at Survivor? He was on the Survivor Series team, wasn't he? Literally can't remember.
I don't know, dude. There's only so far I can go with my memory. Survivor Series was like years ago, right?
I know at the Saudi show, he did the whole Team Flair, Team Hogan. He was on Team Flair, and they lost that match. I feel like he was on Team Raw for Survivor Series, but the fact that we can not remember this at all feels like it says that. Like he was just there. Like that's
this is what
where
happens.
He was.
When you give Drew McIntyre to a guy who has previously got over the Sandman and Tommy Dreamer. This is what happened, okay? And listen, people can get angry at me. How do you know it was Paul? I don't. I'm just telling you it was Paul, okay? He told me personally in the DMs. But the truth of it is, this was, perfect. As you say, he showed charisma. He killed some job guys. Next thing you know, they inserted him with the perfect top guys that would make him look great. Matches with Randy and AJ. This was beautiful. Beautiful ride. And they did the thing. They let him win, Massive result. I'm happy for him.
Look, when they want to push somebody like this, it's so easy to do, especially at the Rumble. Like, they not only gave him the Brock victory, but they gave him, like, the entire Rumble victory. Yeah, like, they completely made him in this hour-long stretch here.
Mm-hmm. I agree. This was awesome. I love this match. I've rewatched this match. Do you know how rarely I've rewatched matches in this day and age? Do you know how seldom that happens? I go on the WWE Network and I go to WCW 1992. I'm not going to 2020. Okay, this was a feat, Jeremy. I was proud of everyone involved. Good job. And Edge was back. Apparently that was a big story. We have a topic about that, right?
We do. We're getting that next. Good transition. Edge did return at the Royal Rumble. Big surprise, unless you've read all the reports about that he was going to return. But still a big deal. We'll hit on that a little bit, but the big thing that I think we want to hit on is the main event segment, the closing segment of Raw with Edge and Randy Orton. Joe, what were your thoughts on this segment?
I have no objective thoughts about this. I have just nothing but love. I have pure raw emotion, man. This was beautiful. This was special, right? This was the best angle I've seen them execute on TV since, God, I wouldn't even want to have to go back that far. This was so good. And it was not even complex or like creative even. It was just too, especially Randy. I'm going to focus on Randy here, okay? He was masterful in this segment. His delivery in the promo was like so different to every promo he's ever given. He actually sounded super sincere and honest, and he was like, man, I actually kind of trust this guy. I know he's going to RKO Edge, but I don't want him to right now. Then he starts like playing with his food. He's like unsure what he should do. He's like Norman Bates sweeping up a body at the motel. He gets a chair and he gets two chairs, and the people are just like every up and down. They're shrieking when he goes to do stuff. This was incredible, man. When he's on, Randy is like an unparalleled heel. He's so good. This was great.
I was watching the video of, and a lot of guys say this, and girls, like just basically a lot of people in the WWE locker room, and people not even in the WWE locker room, watching the video of the rewatch of the 2019 Royal Rumble. I don't know if you saw this. It's like 40 minutes long.
You know I didn't see this.
You should. Samoa Joe has a lot of very good one-liners in this.
I'll watch it then. It's
completely worth it just for Samoa Joe's commentary.
I love it.
On the 2019 Royal Rumble. And they get to the moment where Orton hits the RKO on Nia Jax. And they all talk about, like, Randy Orton just, like, makes this face. And that's all it is. He just makes his face, and they're all talking like he is so good at just like giving off the biggest amount of emotion with just the smallest amount of facial expressions. And it's those little things. And Orton's talked about it. Again, a lot of guys and girls have talked about this. But it was the same thing in this segment of when he goes up top to possibly Pillmanize Edge, and he's like contemplating, like, should I do this, should I not, thinks better of it. He's like, you know what, I'm still gonna give him this concerto though. Like he really is brilliant when he gets into this role.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because he is your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler, right?
Yes,
like
really
those that actually do the job know how great he is. I always remember, I don't know if you listened back in the day to Talking Shop, you know, like Gallows and Anderson's pod. And they had MVP on, and some fan sent him like an email, hey Carl, you're great, you remind me of Randy. And MVP cut him off in the middle of the email and was like, listen man, you're super good, but you're not Randy. And I always thought that was a great like encapsulation of how revered he truly is. And when you see stuff like this, of course he is, man. He's incredible. He's timing. Like, again, I don't repeat myself, but when he's like this, is there a better character? Is there a better performer as far as subtlety and understanding what the audience is going to... I mean, the way that he latched on, he saw the audience with it, and he just seized upon it. He got every single ounce of emotion out of him. This was... And again, we shouldn't forget Edge. Edge's sell was great, and his promo before was great, and the way he was welling up when Randy talked to him, all of it worked. It was a perfect storm because it had real-life history. I mean, that's the beauty of pro wrestling, is that as a TV show, like, there's real-life elements that can make certain stories go way further than they should, you know? Like, the reason this mattered is because we knew about Edge's real-life health issues. That's why it was so powerful. Then you add in their on-screen history, and it's money. I can't wait for this match, and I never, ever would have thought I'd be saying that now in 2020.
I like your take of he's your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler. I think that's like the perfect way to describe Randy, because you don't see like a whole lot of Randy Orton fans online, especially nowadays. They're like, Orton, he's been here forever, he just goes through the motions, whatever. But you listen to anyone talk about this guy, like if you watch the up down stuff when they have just a rotating cast of wrestlers, like the moment Orton gets brought up, everyone's just like, he's so good, Randy is so good. Like, everyone loves this guy.
That really matters, because, and sounds silly, but it's the truth, in 20 years, 30 years, his peers will talk about him that way. Right? And like, that matters, man, because when WWE produced countless documentaries and all this programming, and when these guys are like framed historically, they're not going to call up, the network isn't calling up me and you to talk about Randy, right? Like, they're talking to his peers, and they know how good he is. Like, he's one of them guys we'll all appreciate more in hindsight. I try my best to appreciate that because I genuinely enjoy him almost, most of what he does. There are times where you can tell he's kind of like, he's not totally with it, but even he's like bog standard matches, I enjoy it because he is so good. He's the only guy. All these guys on the roster do amazing moves, and I admire every one of them. But he's the guy that gets a big reaction out of the Superplex. He's like, it's a big move in a Randy match, right? Like, he's a genius.
Edge returning, great to see him back. I mean, he's obviously healthy enough to be back, otherwise he would not be in that position. I think the history certainly played so much into this. I saw people like, why isn't Edge working with this guy or that guy or whatever? And it's like, you can't tell that same story with AJ Styles or Ricochet. They got time. If Edge has signed a 3-year deal, they got time to do all those other matches. But for that,
this is perfect.
Yeah. For that first feud, like, Orton is the perfect guy to do that first feud with.
Definitely. No, I don't said his doubt about it. I think some people they overthink the young guy thing, and I'm all for it. I understand it, but my God, this is just too good to complain about, I feel.
Yeah, you're not getting this same emotion. No offense to AJ Styles. If AJ Styles comes out and does the same thing, it doesn't hit the same way.
No, you're 100% right. Yeah, definitely.
Joe, we're going to give the fans an update on your favorite wrestlers list. Last week, we put it out there to all of our faithful listeners that send Joe wrestlers he should cheer for.
Yes.
Essentially. Because right now your favorite wrestler is Bobby Roode. And that, what good is that doing you?
None. It caused me a lot of pain on Sunday night.
So who do you have on your list now that you're keeping an eye out on? These are the next big stars in wrestling, folks.
They're not. I'm going to be honest with you, Jeremy. This has been a major failure in every way. On my current list, I have not got one name suggested by our audience. That feels bad, right? First thing first, I have to make this clear. Samoa Joe and Alexa Bliss have been retained from my prior dealings. They are cornerstones of the franchise, Jeremy. They're not going anywhere. Both cause me immense pain and struggle in this journey. But there's some things you can't replace, right? Loyalty matters. You agree with this, Jeremy?
They were on the protection list. You had, expansion team coming in.
You're untouchable.
I understand.
Now, what that means is, assuming tomorrow night Nikki Cross doesn't do something heinous, she is also on the list.
Like, go to NXT UK.
If that would be the worst thing she could do. Of all the things she could do, betraying Alexa would be, that'd be bad. But if she turns up in NXT UK, it's over. Unfollowed, done, right? I have locked in 2 new names, though. And this is very important, and I know our audience is excited. Rhea Ripley is locked in as a safe bet pick.
Okay.
This is, I should never lose in this game, right? There's no way. Rhea Ripley should win every match ever. The big one is Hangman Page.
Yes.
This is a big one. Now, I'm going to tell the audience who's on the bubble for the sake of fairness. Ricky Starks is a notch out. He's so close. We also have Trevor Murdoch, Eli Drake, Randall Orton, AJ Styles, Andrade, who, shaky week. Bobby Roode is still on the bubble, Jeremy, okay? I'm going to...
He didn't drop to the bubble. He's gone from cornerstone to the bubble.
Yes. I didn't want to just sit in by removing him from the list altogether. And the Usos are also on the bubble. I need the audience to help about the names I just listed. I want to have around, we're at what now, like 5? Something like that, 5? I want to get to like 8, maybe 10. We'll go to 10, that's fine. But I must say, I was very disappointed in our loyal fans who still don't know me well enough to suggest feasible favourite wrestlers. I mean, there was a lot of like cool suggestions, like Shotzi Blackheart. I'm like, come on, man, I'm not cool enough for that. Bobby Roode is my favourite wrestler, right? They have to have a certain level of Joe Hulbert about him, and that's why Trevor Murdoch's on the list. So, I don't know, Jeremy, what do you think? Am I missing out here? Is there some names on the bubble that should be locked in? What do you feel?
First off, Hangman Page is a great choice.
Great addition to the thing.
He's been awesome these past few weeks. Just outstanding. The Hold My Beer Buckshot Lariat on Dynamite may have been the best spot AEW has done since existing.
Yeah, I agree. That was great. That was like the best thing on this week's show.
Yeah. I would bump up Ricky Starks, but I'm a big fan of Ricky Starks. I think he's got all the tools, and he's really gonna thrive in NWA as well.
I should tell the audience this because this is important. Okay, Ricky Starks wrestled 3 matches on Friday and 1 on Tuesday, and the thing that got him closest to this list was when he was walking out on Friday, and he like picked some kid up and just like walked him through the crowd. Do you remember this, Jeremy? At the Hard Times.
Yeah.
And I watched this and I thought, he's a feasible favourite. He could be a guy. We get behind. He's close. He's very close. But, we have to see a little bit more. We have to take our time. We don't rush into these things, do we? Because that's how we end up in sad times. And I'll accept some hard times, Jeremy, but no sad times. I must say I'm somewhat concerned by Samoa Joe falling victim to an injury as soon as this gimmick starts. Somewhat concerned. But in all seriousness, that was sad, right? I hope Joe gets back. We spoke about this before with the Ember Moon thing. Man, it really amazes me. People have no empathy when it comes to injuries, right? Like, I see this news reported and I just see people saying stuff like, "No wonder don't push him. Guy sucks. Can never stay healthy." It's like, geez, man, take it easy a little bit, okay? Like, chill. I felt bad for him, but the bubble is an interesting list because Randall Orton will always be one of my favourite wrestlers, right?
Yeah, why is he on the bubble? Like, he's not going anywhere.
Because it's just like, he's such a safe, Randy's still on there. Good one, Joe. It's only been 15 years. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like...
So, see, you're putting too much stock into what other people think now. Like, if I do my favorite wrestler's gimmick, John Cena's there. I don't care if people, he's not around anymore, but, if people are like, oh, that's an easy pick. I don't care. John Cena's awesome. Yeah, but
the thing is we're tastemakers here. Right? This is what you don't understand, Joe. We've got a podcast now. I have a microphone, okay?
You're just getting people walking up to you on the streets.
Yes, we just did 10 minutes talking about how great Randy Orton is. Do you know the percentage of our audience that's already turned off? And now you want me to stand here and be like, yeah, he's on the favourite list too. It's tough, man. I've got to pick my spots here. We'll save the Randy praise for next week, okay? But I must say I was very disappointed. There was some controversial names popping up in my mentions, and I'm not proud of them. Also, there is no company off limits here, other than Impact. New Japan Pro Wrestling is in the game. Ishii is on the bubble, by the way. I'd like you to know that. That's something I should have mentioned. But yes, TNA excluded. Everything else is in play. Feel free to suggest. Don't tell me that my locked-in ones are bad picks. That will get you a block. But suggest anyone else.
What about heel Britt Baker?
Close. She's in the game.
She's awesome.
That was awesome this week, man. She nailed it. And poor Jim Ross was just kind of looking around. I'd like to read a quote. Jim Ross this week had a truly inspired piece of announcing.
I know what you're going to say.
I don't. You sure you do?
Yeah, I think I do.
Penelope Ford got involved in this match, and he said, and I'm not doing this is not a voice. This is how he read this in his accent. But this is the tone of which he read it. Oh, what a Jezebel she is! What a plan! These are evil people, ladies and gentlemen. And Tony Schiavone replied, "These are evil people," which I found to be an incredible piece of announcing. It sounded like he was reading Jim Ross dialogue from 2001, but I loved it. I was very happy with it. That was a good match, by the way. I enjoyed it.
He also called Penelope Ford insatiable, I believe.
Yes, that was incredible too. Yeah. Bless him. I like it. I enjoy it, and I love that Britt Baker was talking about be the man I grew up on. Oh no, yeah, sure, whatever.
They ripped them for not knowing anybody's names, selling barbecue instead of learning the roster's names. She's not wrong.
I mean, I feel, seeing as I've sat here and admitted that I didn't watch a professional wrestling show while recording a podcast, I feel I'm not the guy to criticise Jim for that. But yeah, sure, she can say what she wants, but I'm certainly not going to say anything.
I think Britt Baker needs to be added to the bubble because big things in store for her, I feel like.
I mean, I would do that if I had any faith in good things happening in that division. And if I do get that faith, maybe we'll talk about it. Actually. Yeah, it's tough.
That's very fair. The last piece of business that we unfortunately are going to get to here. Sunday, Kobe Bryant, Lakers legend, NBA legend, just kind of world legend at this point. Kind of transcended the NBA. Tragically died in a helicopter crash, along with his daughter Gianna, and also in the crash was John Altobelli, his wife Carrie, their daughter Alyssa, Sarah and Peyton Chester, and Christina Mauser and the pilot Era Zobayan. I want to at least pay respects to everyone who tragically lost their life in the helicopter crash, because it was not just Kobe Bryant who died. It was unfortunately 9 people and kids as well. So, but Joe, Kobe, how did you find out? What was your reaction, and just any type of Kobe memories?
Well, I want to hand the floor to you on this very much, because people that follow me know I'm new to basketball. I never got to watch Kobe play like in real time, but as you said, and you touched upon, he far transcended basketball, he far transcended sport, and on a human level, this was tragic. If you've never watched basketball in your life, this was tragic, right? Because just on a human level, it's just an awful event, and so many people lost their hero. My only thing I can say really is that as I got into NBA, my brother, he suddenly decided he was a big Lakers fan, and whenever I would push him on, you're not really a Lakers fan, you haven't watched for 10 years, he would just say, well, Kobe, right?
Yeah.
And there's all this image of him, my brother loved Kobe and he had his jersey and stuff. My brother knew nothing about basketball, but that is the thing I can kind of offer, in the sense of here, Kobe's impact, and he's one of those special athletes that you just say Kobe, that's all you need, right? And we all know you're talking about. And it was amazing to see, just going on social media and seeing every athlete I follow across the board, footballers, cricketers, boxers, whatever it may be, talking about how he impacted them, man. And social media was a super strange place when it happened. It was a lot of when they first saw a screenshot, it was a fake, and then it kept coming. Everyone's tweet was something about that, and it was brutal, man. Yeah, I think everyone's starting to slowly feel better, but we get reminders every day, and it's shocking. It feels like a bad dream,
Kobe, the favorite wrestler, your favorite wrestlers with Randy Orton, that was Kobe.
100%,
your favorite basketball player's favorite basketball player was Kobe. I was never a Kobe fan. I admired his greatness. Anytime there was the debate on Kobe, LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, I grew up a big Jordan fan. So I was Jordan was better. But I appreciated how good Kobe was. But every single player, especially in this generation, they grew up watching Kobe. It's very, I don't want to say it's weird, but you see these guys like Luka and Trae Young, and they're in their first, second season, and they're all just this admiration they have for Kobe, and they never shared the floor with him, they never competed against him. That's who they grew up admiring and wanting to be. And in the past generation as well, people thought Kobe and LeBron, they're rivals. Everyone tried to make them out to be their rivals, because of course they are. They're two of the greats. Why wouldn't they be? And they're best friends off the court. And it's so strange how we as fans try to want to perceive these guys as rivals all over the place, but it's really okay. They're rivals on the court. Off the court, all these guys go to the club together. All these guys take vacations together. They're really good friends. And it's, everyone seemed to love Kobe. And yeah, his basketball career was over, but the guy was 41, and he had still a whole second life he was very involved still with the league, very involved with his daughter and their team. And he was still very involved in other aspects of life, and I mean, he still had his whole second career ahead of him. So and so did everyone involved in that crash. But I was numb when I found out on Sunday. I was in a position, I was ready to work right before the Royal Rumble. So yeah, I got some stuff on my list to do. I'm gonna get it done. And then it broke, and I couldn't focus on anything else. I just had to keep updated, had to see what everyone was saying. And you were right, my entire timeline, didn't matter what list I had open. Wrestling, hockey, just regular news, it didn't matter. Everyone was tweeting about Kobe.
It's interesting. I know that his Hall of Fame induction is this summer, correct? That's right?
Yeah.
The one thing I would say is, and this is, a nothing positive within an absolute tragedy, but thankfully Kobe was an athlete that was truly celebrated while he was here. Do you know what I'm saying? At least if we can take anything from that, it was great that he had so many moments where people actually honoured him while he was here and while he could see it. It's a shame the Hall of Fame, obviously, induction comes now, but what I mean is, like, his jersey's already hanging in Staples. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes we wait too long and terrible stuff like this happens, and we never got that moment to do that. But yeah, man, we were very lucky to have, in what we do, a professional wrestling show to distract us, because frankly, there was no distraction for a lot of people. It was painful, real painful, and every time you're reminded of it, it's still painful. You know, still haven't quite got to grips with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been less. I don't know how. Like, they had games like a half hour after the news broke. Like, how you see these guys like crying on the sidelines, crying during introductions. Like, how are these guys playing basketball right now? And I get, for some of them, like, all right, it's an escape, you can get your mind off it, but so soon.
Too soon. Afterwards, yeah, I mean, I watched the Sixers on Tuesday, and I couldn't, after the first quarter I left it, because it was eerie, man. Like, it was not a good feeling about that game. You could tell there was still a lot of anxiety and bad feelings about what happened, and that was Tuesday. So on Sunday night, it was crazy. Them games went forward. I mean, I understand that the game that happened like directly after, I understand that was kind of in motion, if that makes sense. But the games that happened later that night, I feel like they probably should not have happened. But I understand. I mean, no one's prepared to make them decisions, I guess, right? It's just, but it's always weird when something happens that you know is like a where were you when? This was one of them moments. People are going to be talking about this in years to come, about that day, that Sunday night in 2020. So moments like that are always weird, and they're hard to adjust to.
Yeah, I couldn't watch the Thunder game on Monday. I made it through the first quarter, and I was just like, I can't do this right now. I was finally able to watch some of the game last night, but it's tough. And, you know, the Lakers haven't played a game at Staples. The Clippers are supposed to play at Staples. They canceled the Lakers and the Clippers were supposed to play on Tuesday. And like, that would have been obviously a big game, and it didn't happen, and it rightfully probably shouldn't have happened. But they're gonna have the first game back at Staples tonight with the Clippers. I think the Lakers play at Staples tomorrow. It's going to definitely be a scene. You mentioned that, you know, your family member say Kobe and that's it.
Yeah.
The thing, every time you shoot something into a wastebasket or wherever, everyone does the Kobe thing, and like this is like a thing that like everyone seems to know about, and it always weirded me out. Like, I don't know how this started or anything, but it's so, like, a long time ago, my friend used to joke with me. He's like, you know why Kobe will always be more famous than Jordan? I'm like, why? He's like, you don't yell MJ when you're shooting trash into a trash can. I was like, yeah, that's true. Like, I don't know how that, but there's this video of fans outside Staples with like one trash can and a bunch of paper trash balls, and they're all just shooting the trash into the trash can, like yelling Kobe. And like, that was just the most amazing moment to me, because it's like, this is what everyone does, and everyone just like came together for this. I thought that was so cool.
Those visuals are always super touching, right? Like, when something like this happens and a group of people get together, like the scene outside Staples Center this week has just been, every time I see it, it hurts a lot. It's really kind of it's touching in the sense that it's great to see people come out like that and show love and support, but it's also just awful because it's like it's the reminder, right? Like, damn, that actually that just happened, and we all have to just move on. I understand that. Like, we're for people that truly knew him, like, I can't like empathise enough with them. But for us, it's weird because we have to kind of move on, and we do successfully, and then you're reminded, man, this is not even a week ago. Like, with recording this today, and it feels like it was some time ago. It wasn't. It was 4 days ago.
Yeah.
It's just awful, you know?
It's always weird on how this stuff like affects everyone, because we didn't know Kobe. I mean, I've never met the guy. I don't think I ever saw him play live either. So like, I didn't know him. Only knew him from what you saw on TV or social media, any of that stuff. But it's still like as I said, once it happened, like, I was numb. Like, I just lost a family member. And
I mean, I literally knew Kobe from the name itself, the brand itself, and from like, if I, you know, when I was going to school and stuff as a kid, I would see that dude on the news in the morning, like they've just won the championship or they've just done this, the Lakers, right? Like on the sports report, because NBA's on at such a time here, and it still resonated with me to that degree. Like I was broken up about it, man, and I have no link to him whatsoever. Just on a human level, it was just awful. And seeing people you admire, that how much it hurt them makes it way worse.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing, right? Like, if no matter what your favorite player is, what your favorite team is, they would have had some kind of emotional reaction to this, and it was all played out in front of us because, as we said, the game's kind of. So it was bizarre. It was super odd.
It was, and thoughts and prayers and condolences to friends, family of Kobe and everyone who tragically passed away in that helicopter crash. What a downer to end this podcast on.
I know, man, but we had to touch on it, right? Like it's one of those situations where it's like we spoke about the NBA way too much not to talk about an event of that scale. Just the way it is, you know.
Yeah, and I mean we're a basketball podcast masquerading as a wrestling podcast, because this is not a basketball site. Do we have? Let's try.
Not yet.
Nah, not yet. Sean and I keep pushing for it. What we had a name for it. What was it? It was like Out of Bounds or something.
Yes. You mentioned this before, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, earlier on, I do think I deserve some credit because I'm pretty sure, unless I've imagined this, I'm pretty sure earlier I claimed that Alexa Bliss had moved from a second scoring option to a first scoring option on a lottery team, which was an incredible basketball reference.
We've had a lot. I mean, I think every week we've done a basketball comparison.
Yeah,
so.
I was very proud of that one though, in particular, because that's just an incredible thought. The 5-foot women's wrestler being spoken about as a basketball player was an amazing effort.
And you said post moves.
Yeah, that's tremendous. Imagine
Muggsy Bogues in the post.
Well, you know, I mean, I was talking in generalizations. Yeah, carry on. Yeah.
Joe, what do you have going on this week with features?
I have nothing. I have no plan. I will not have a feature on Fightful until when is the Saudi Arabia show, Jeremy?
February 27th.
That's when you can next get featured. Until then, I will just tweet a lot of silliness. I will prepare for this podcast.
Where will you tweet your silliness from?
Joe Hulbert 5. Thank you for that, Jeremy. I appreciate the setup. I thought he was asking me what app. I was thinking, well, you know, pretty obvious, you know. But yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. That yes. Lots of silliness. I prepare. This podcast is, you know, it's a job in itself because now I actually have to watch the wrestling, which is a rude awakening for me after years of masquerading via gifs and takes, you know. So I'm proud of myself this week. I had a lot of hot takes. Please tell me if you liked the hot takes or didn't. Don't argue them with me though, because I don't want to do that. So what was my biggest hot take this week, do you think? Alexa Bliss is a better heel, or was it the one about best Rumble match ever? What was the biggest hot take?
I think Drew McIntyre's Victor Oladipo was the biggest.
That was hot. Yeah, that was super. I'm proud of this. This was a good showing for the hot take train. Yeah, good show, man. I enjoyed it.
It's not over yet. And compliment Joe on his microphone if you've been watching the video. Even if you, there you go, get the microphone in the shot. If you haven't been watching the video and you're listening to this on podcast form, just compliment it anyway.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of that too. This was a big week for me as a professional.
Joe actually watched the shows and got a microphone.
Yes, well, not all of the shows, but yeah, I watched most of them.
Next week, we're going to review Backlash 2018.
Oh, no, we're not. We're definitely not doing that. No.
Warren has paid good money for this Backlash review.
Listen, this is the truth about this, and we should make this clear. If you're interested in seeing us talk about anything and you're willing to pay for it, there is a negotiation to be had, okay? But, you know, and I'm talking about big money. I'm talking about any kind of money. I'll talk about any wrestling show for that. So, Backlash 2018, if you're interested, DM me.
Or any other show. Sean and Warren do the retro reviews on Fightful Select. Everyone sign up to Fightful Select to get Sean and Warren.
Imagine doing a retro review of 2018.
A lot has changed since then. A lot has changed since then. I don't know the card. Roman Reigns is at the top. That's not the case anymore.
Wow, that's the hottest take of the show. You just clocked in with it. Well, after I'd already packed up and was ready to go home, you said, "No, I've got the hot take." You're about to have a lot of stands coming after you, man. That's not good.
I love Roman Reigns. I was genuinely excited on how excited he was during that Rumble match.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
That was a very sincere comment. I was genuinely excited for how excited he was.
He looked like he was having a grand old time beating up on Baron Corbin walking around that arena.
Yeah. That was interesting. That was very interesting, the way they was just like sort of walking. I've never seen a cut-off spot in a wrestling match built up to by the babyface just sort of following the man around the arena. That was very interesting, but I enjoyed that. You liked it a lot more than me, I sense.
I look, Roman Reigns smiling puts a smile on my face, so I seriously was genuinely excited for how excited he was for that match.
I'm not sure it needed to be 20 minutes long, but again, you know, that's another debate for another day. You have to remember I watch these shows at very, very late hours, you know? So like when something awful happens on a pay-per-view, it's like 2 a.m. It's very dark, very dark moments. That's why I need good faves. Suggest your faves and compliment the microphone.
You can follow me on Twitter at Jeremy Lambert88 every day, writing something or another for Fightful. AEW Power Rankings, Real Sports Power Rankings, they're up now by the time you all listening to this. Distraction Thursdays. I'm distracted by Joe's mic right now. Distraction Thursdays on Fightful. Thank you,
Distraction
everyone.
Thursdays.
Yeah, distraction.
Oh, we're gonna start selling T-shirts and stuff. Yeah,
maybe.
We have our own day.
I will talk to Sean about. We gotta get distraction shirts. They gotta feature Japanese deathmatch legend Luther. Jesus, Lucha. Japanese deathmatch legend Luther on the shirts. I don't know if AEW will clear. Can we trademark that? I bet they don't have a trademark on that.
Jim Ross might. It might be one of his flavors of barbecue sauce.
I wonder how much it takes to file it. Now somebody's gonna listen to this podcast and like do it anyway. And
yeah, Brandy Rhodes just did it as soon as you said it. She just did it. She's like, damn, they're on us quickly.
Yeah, I'll talk to Sean about a Distraction Thursday but you've got to write a feature every Thursday though.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, see that's the gimmick here, because your feature has to go up at 11, the power rankings go up at 3, and then the distraction goes up at 7.
See, I forgot that I was a major part of this 3-piece, like, that's bad by me, right? Now we're just a two-headed monster. We're nothing now. They're laughing at us. Okay, I'm gonna do a feature every like one Thursday of a month, so that'll have to do for now, guys. I have a microphone now.
You gotta pay for that microphone somehow.
I do. You don't pay for itself. That's another thing you can buy for me. If you want to DM me microphones that you'd like to buy for me, that is always open. That and favourite wrestlers I'll never reject. Actually, I will reject favourite wrestlers, but not microphones.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. We will be back next Thursday.